Stranger as it sounds, my father was probably the last person in the world that believed I could fight. This sounds really strange because he was the person who paid for all those martial art lessons. And yet, he steadfast to refuse that I could fight. Only because he believed it's impossible for a blind person to be able to fight for real. This was a great advantage to me, of course. Every time someone, like a teacher or principal, phoned, said Johnny got in the fight in school, my father always just shrugged them off, tell them that it was not possible. How can Johnny get in the fight? After all, he's blind. He can't see where people are. How can he hit people? No. Whoever you said got injured, it couldn't have been Johnny. Who knows? Maybe they fell downstairs themselves and tried to blame on my son. Yeah, that was my father. But since I took martial art really seriously. I still do. And I always feel kind of proud of what I do. This denial of his always hurt me and frustrated me to no end. I remember when I was, I guess, 17. My father got goaded into challenging me for a boxing match. My brother David, during an argument with my dad, said something like, "You blame me for fighting, you blame me for doing all these bad things. How come you don't do anything about Johnny? Johnny is so brutal, and he's such a brute." And my father, of course, no, Johnny can't be a bruiser. No, Johnny can't be doing that. He's blind after all. And my brother David said, "You're only saying that, like, how about you go and challenge him for a fight? And you'll know better. The rest of us know better. How come you don't learn?" And my father, of course, he said to me, he said, "You wouldn't beat me in a fight, would you? That's ridiculous." I said to him, I said, "Well, every time you beat me up, I never fought back. It's not because I can't. It's just I don't want to. You're my father. To me, hitting your own father is just, wrong. But yeah, if we get in a fight, I think I can clean your clock." That didn't sit too well with him. So he said, "Okay, for this boxing match, pretend I'm not your father." I was like, "Dad, are you sure? I'm not too. I don't know if you know what you're getting into." He said, "Oh yeah, you young punk, you think you can beat me?" So anyway, we set a date. 3 days later, at the gym near our place. And for the next 3 days, my brothers took turn telling my dad that he was going to die. "Dad, did you have your will made up? Dad, have you ever seen Johnny fight?" And I think that started to get him really nervous. So 3 days later, we stepped into the gym, and as we were taking off our accessories, putting wallets aside and taking off our shoes, getting into our fighting gear, my dad said to me, "Last chance, You know, if we get into that ring, I'm going to really hurt you. And I just smiled. I said, Dad, you are sure that when we are in there, like, no, don't, you told me not to think of you as my dad. Are you still sure about that? Because I am sure I can do it. And he maintained that he was sure until we were just ready to step into the ring. Suddenly he looked at me and threw down his gloves and stalked away, muttering something about I wasn't a very good son. And of course the fight never took place. And it was probably all for the best, because I don't think that he could have let the fight stay good-natured and not hold a grudge. I don't think I would have held back either. I wasn't too happy with him at that time. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. It wasn't until last year, in 2012, that I went back to Taiwan, saw my dad for the first time in the past 13 years. And I showed him some of my videos, videos of me training, videos of me being interviewed for my martial art endeavors. I think that's when it finally drove home that, hey, my son knows how to fight. Whenever he met a friend, he introduced me, hey, this is my son Johnny, he just came back from Canada. Can you believe that he teaches people how to fight? That made me feel really, really good.
You're gonna run into the car. You're off the sidewalk.
Of course I'm off the sidewalk. I was crossing the driveway. What did he think I was doing anyway? Sometimes people say the darndest thing.